Hey guys, got in another scope from CVLIFE to take a look at. This one is called the EagleFeather, and it's a 4 to 16 by 44 scope. But I figure we'll do a real quick unboxing, go over all the features and specifications. We'll get it mounted to something, go to the range, and check it out. So it obviously comes in this plain black box. I do wish that they would start putting their logo on the boxes. They used to several years ago when I'd get their stuff. It would say CVLIFE like in the yellow and stuff like that on here. So it's just a very plain box. Again, 4 to 16 by 44. But let's get this box open. We'll see what comes in it. And again, I note you're not buying the box. And it is a sturdy box. Like, you can squeeze on it pretty hard. It just looks so generic. I just wish they'd put their logo on it. So we have the scope protected by some foam pads here. Looks like we have a sunshade down in there. And then a user manual. And I believe that there are some pop-up lens covers and some mounts, and I'll show you that once we get everything out. And also down in the box were a couple of batteries. They are CR 2032s. And then in the little package with the scope was a couple of tools, like some Allen keys, and then a lens cleaning cloth. The larger Allen key is going to go on your scope mounts right here, and the smaller one is going to go on the turrets. Quickly show you guys the user manual here. You can pause and read any of this if you choose to. And we'll quickly go over some of the features. So it is an illuminated reticle with red and green. I mentioned that it's 4 to 16 on the magnification. It has a side focus adjustment. It has tactical turrets, fast focus eyepiece, fully multi-coated lenses, and it's waterproof, shockproof, and fog-proof. Here's some of the specifications. It looks like our ocular lens is 36 millimeters. Down here, our length is 12.2 inches. The weight is almost 23 ounces. And we have a 30 millimeter tube diameter. So let's take a glance kind of all around the scope here. I know it is made out of 6061 aluminum. I know that it's O-ring sealed, which allows for that waterproofness and fog proofness. I kind of always like to look at the anodization on these budget scopes. This one actually looks really good. I don't really see any imperfections at all. The anodization's really uniform. The scope mounts or the rings are a slightly different sheen or color, but that's to be expected. But the scope itself looks really good. Those are obviously pretty noisy. You wouldn't want that if you're in your blind or stand. You'd want to have those already up. But they do spring really well. I'm going to pull these lens covers off so we can kind of start looking at some of the other stuff on here. So again, here's our ocular eyepiece. That's what we're going to look through. We have a diopter adjustment. I always like to feel that these things are gritty or fairly smooth. This is how you'll basically focus. So like, let's say you're at 100 yards and you change your magnification, which that's this lever here, and it's kind of blurry. You'll adjust this to bring you back into focus. Speaking of that magnification, it's grooved and kind of textured, so that allows you to get your fingers and grip onto that much better. There's not a throw lever on it, but that's really easy to turn. So that should be pretty easy when you're actually shooting. If you need to make an adjustment, you should not have to pull your face away. So I'll check that out. Again, I assume this is our battery door here. We'll get a battery in a bit. We have, it looks like 5 levels of brightness. That is kind of stiff. Loosening up a bit, but yeah, it's also grooved if you can see that, where you can get your fingers on that, but that is pretty stiff. We got a parallax adjustment here. Very, very stiff too. I'm sure that this will kind of loosen with use. But this here is how you can basically change your yardage. And you'll see a little dot right there. So if I want to shoot at 40 yards, I can set this. If I want to go to 100, yeah, that's starting to loosen up already now. But it's real easy adjustments through here. So these turrets are actually just like push-pull for locking. They were really stiff at first, but yeah, if you pull this up, now you can make adjustments. And then once you get it set where you want it, you push it back down, and then that locks it into place. Let's check out this one. You kind of hear how that clicked in. And then this little screw up on top is if you want to reset the turret, you can actually remove this, and then you can turn it to where you kind of want to reset it back to the zeros. And then you can push this back on and then tighten that back down. And as I mentioned, it's a 30 millimeter tube size. And let's check out the sunshade. Very smooth threads, locks up good and tight. Kind of difficult to show you guys in here at this distance, but it does have an etched reticle. I just went to put a battery in it, and there was actually already one in there, so you get 3 batteries total. I'm going to try to show you guys the different colors here and the different levels of brightness. I know it never shows up very well. I do have it on a black table to kind of hopefully show you here, but we'll go through the green first. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's actually pretty nice. Some of these, the color like goes through the entire tube and looks really weird. This one's not bad at all. That's 5. So then we should be off, and then through the reds. That one's a little bit harder to see. There's 2. Getting brighter now. That's 3. And that's the brightest on the red. This never works out great, but I'm going to try to let you guys see kind of what I see through this scope here. This tree right there is about 80 yards away. So this is on the 4 times magnification on that tree. And that is 8 times magnification. This is the 12 magnification on that same tree over there. The camera always wants to adjust, so it's hard to look through the iPhone camera at it. Again, you can see it over there. And that is 16 magnification. This might be kind of hard for me to show you guys, but I went to mount this, and they have these mounts pre-installed, and then the scope is level within the mounts. I tried it on a couple different guns, and I can only get one of them to go down in there, as you can see right there. So I'm going to have to move this mount back a little bit. So it's a little bit, I mean, it only takes a minute, but it was already level and stuff. So they're off by just a couple millimeters, and it won't go down in there. I don't know if you can see the little marks there on the side. That's about how far back I had to move this to get it to fit on the rail. All right, guys, out at the range here this morning with that CVLIFE, the EagleFeather. I'm not shooting very far. I'm only at 50 yards. It is like below zero out here this morning, so I'll probably only get 50 shots or so through it. I just kind of want to test some things out on it. All right, guys, back from the range with this EagleFeather 4-16 by 44 scope, and just want to share some thoughts with you guys. First thing is the box. I mentioned this a month or so ago when I did another review of theirs, and I think I even mentioned it earlier in this video. I just do not care for these plain black generic looking boxes. I know you're not buying the scope for the box, but I still want to be presented with something that looks really nice. And it's not a huge difference, but like this is the way their boxes used to come, and they would have their branding logo and the size of the scope and stuff like that on the box, and it just looked nicer. Like the quality of the box is probably no better than this. I just like seeing branding or something on the box. Second thing I noticed that I didn't really care for was just how incredibly loud these lens covers are when you pop them up. I don't know if the mic will pick this up or not, but just imagine sitting in your deer blind or tree stand or whatever it might be, and you see the animal that you're hunting and you go to spring those up. Well, that's going to spook any type of game away. So I would definitely recommend having those already up and ready to go. All right, let's talk about some of the positives, and there's a lot of them. So first off, I think that it's constructed really, really well. I like the anodization. Everything is very smooth. I mean, it really does feel like a nice quality scope. The glass was very, very clear. Some of the clearest glass that I've ever seen on any scopes that I've had. Didn't fog or anything like that. And like I said, it was around 0 degrees that morning. My glasses were fogging up so bad I had to remove them a couple different times. And even with my face up, kind of close to the scope, no fogging or anything like that. The magnification lever is super smooth. I never had to like lose my sight picture, field of view, or anything like that when I went to adjust it. Has really good eye relief, somewhere in the 4 to 5 inch range. You can move around and there's a lot of room for error there. Oh, what are some other things? It has the etched reticle, and because it's a second focal plane, that reticle stays exactly the same as you change your magnification. It also has the illuminated reticle with the red and the green. I was shooting like around at 8:30 in the morning, and the sun hadn't even came over the trees yet. And so having the illuminated is beneficial if you're doing dusk or dawn shooting. But what's also nice is that reticle is always there, even if the battery fails. Having that side parallax adjustment is nice. It goes from like 10 to 20 yards in that like a really low short distance, all the way up to like over 400 yards. So that's very nice. The turrets are very smooth, easy to adjust, audible, palpable. Then you just lock them back down when you're done. So at the time of me recording this video, the CVLIFE EagleFeather is available on Amazon for $120, but there's a $40 off coupon bringing it down to $80. I think at the $80 price point, it is a really good buy. I think it's a quality scope that's built really well. But I will leave that Amazon link down in the video description. If you guys want to find out more information on it or pick one up, it'll be down there. Also, if you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down below as well. And that's going to be it on this one, guys. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.